didn't you come? So I wrote right back saying I'm on my way. I'll be there sometime soon. Didn't give them a specific date, but of course I will. Why not?
Why don't we all go?
Why don't we all go? Hey, next year in Moscow.
The paper stamps.
Well, if the democracy keeps working, maybe we can.
Yeah.
We can go.
It's a good business. It's a good place for the diamond business. I'm sure of it.
Look, if they can open a McDonald's.
But was David's father a jeweler, or how did he become a watchmaker?
How do I know? I don't know anything.
Yeah, nobody knows
She
anything.
knows much more than I do.
But next year in Moscow would be a great idea. Visit all our relatives. Dig up some archives. Find Grandma Eva's old store.
Hey, listen, everybody. You know, the meeting is frittering away. We've only got 15 minutes. Could we stop the crosstalk and give the meeting back to our chairperson?
Come on, chairperson, get to it.
Okay. Now, the problem is, where do we want it? I think we have to wind this down.
We have to wind this down, and 15 minutes is the maximum.
Let's first of all, who's assigned to what? Let's go through our
Right.
assignments.
Good idea.
Okay. Peter, what are you assigned? Where is it?
He went to get the letters.
Okay, Dan, what are your
I'm doing the genealogy chart, and then I will be mailing it out, and I will continuously update it as people feed me back more information. At least for a year or so.
Okay.
At which point I might pass it off.
Michael, you're doing the photograph?
No, I'm going to do it. Well, I'll process it. I'll do the group photo and send everybody the group photo we just did. And I'm also going to, I think what might be a good idea is I can Xerox everything I have from, anything I have of interest from my grandfather and give it to somebody that can pass it on to whoever's interested that might want to mention.
Couldn't you people who know about library work help us store the materials in a way that would be safe and materials not deteriorate and stuff? One of the things that we have is a book which is long since out of publication, documenting my father's trip to Russia.
Okay, we can order for you the kinds of archival boxes and simple stuff that will do a lot for preservation.
Well, if you guys take that on as a task,
At not much cost.
But it's not just for us. We're talking about family history, and we're.
Well, are we talking about trying to get a central place for this?
That
or
was-
are we
that's-
trying to say each family will be responsible to either duplicate, you know, how exactly do
Tell us what
one handle?
I think that we should, that every family should hold on to.
Yeah, I think so, because it has meaning on a current basis to have the material.
But
So
we
we
need
can give
your
you
help.
physical containers to use. Okay?
Everybody seen this picture?
I work for an association that keeps very valuable documents. And what they do is they get the documents from around the world, they duplicate it, they send back the originals and a copy to the source, and they keep a copy for themselves. And that way, there's always a central place that has it all. So if each person would duplicate
whatever
their
they
own,
have.
and then send a duplication to some central
I
source,
think
and you can
that's
make a
right.
central
The decision
file.
has to be as what the
Because,
central source
well,
will be.
what you have to try to do right now is you have to say, what kinds of things do we want in the central file? Do we make our own judgments, or do we have some standard that we will make out for everybody else? And that's what we have to decide. If you say, okay, each family makes their own choice, fine.
I think each family will.
Yeah, that way it'll be
What does
fine.
everybody else think?
Make a choice. I think it's better to get too much stuff and then end up with throwing some of the duplicates out versus getting too little and losing something important.
You don't know what's historical
Yeah.
until...
I'd love to see
you
this
put it
book
in
about
context.
Max
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the agricultural
I'm
tractor
I'll
station.
sit down and I have all the copying equipment at home, and I'll photograph all the photographs that I have. And do you guys want to be the...
One thing is, if you're Xeroxing, try to Xerox in what they call acid-free paper. It's available in most Xeroxing places.
Right.
Acid-free paper will not deteriorate the way regular paper does. And if you're sending that copy to an archive, you want to to be able to keep.
The question, where's the archive going to be? How are we
Well,
going to
that's the
do
thing. There's a place called Evo. That's the thing I was trying to think of.
It's
Yeah.
in New York, it's
Yeah.
called YIVO.
YIVO in New York City, which does have Jewish background history. And I haven't spoken to them. Maybe I could take that on as my project to find out if we wanted to do this as a family, to send all our duplicates to one repository. Would they be the place? Would they be willing to do it? And how do we go about it? Do you want me to be the one to do that?
That sounds terrific.
I think they're on 86th and 5th.
Yeah. I've understood they're sometimes difficult to deal with.
Are they?
And also a lot of the stuff there is either in Yiddish or Hebrew or Russian, but so
they-
what? So is ours.
But they could
Did
probably.
you say you had things you wanted translated?
Okay.
My friend
Now,
can
David,
translate,
you
like,
said you would
freelance.
find out about the plaque for the Ellis Island. David?
Bob, if you have Russian or Yiddish stuff, I know someone who can translate very well.
Well,
Her name is Bulov. It's Joseph Bulov's widow, the actor.
We
And
have
she speaks like 4 or 5 languages.
we have friends who are involved with the Russian Studies Department at Norwich University up here, including the director of the summer program, and she, I'm sure, could help us translate all the Russian.
Get the students to.
But Luca can
Better to have them.
Oh, well, I'll have Luca do it. You need these? She won't translate. Good.
Some of my letters must have gotten mixed up with someone else's.
Okay, listen, the savages, they're getting, the natives are restless.
They wanted to go swimming, but I think it's too late. Can't do that.
Well, it's up to you.
No.
I mean,
Just do something else. Okay. Now who else? Peter. Peter. Excuse me. I'm sorry to interrupt, but what
We've got 10
we're
minutes,
trying to
Peter.
find out who is doing what. Peter, what are you in charge of? What archives are you going to be dealing with? What are you going to? Who have I missed?
My mother has some old photographs. These documents I copied that include Aaron David's diploma as a master watchsmith, residence permits, internal pass in Russia, naturalization certificates of Aaron David and Tamara. My father's and Tamara's passports from 1934, some records of their travel to the Soviet Union. And have to be listed, preserved, and later on when we arrange is an appropriate place to deposit copies. And
We were talking about the Evo.
yeah.
But in the meantime, Judy, do you want to be the recipient of all photocopies that are made, since it's all fresh in our minds
Yeah,
before
I
other
think that's a
arrangements
good
are
idea.
made?
I think that's a
Are
good
we
idea.
agreed on that?
Fine.
So
And I'll
send,
send you-
send copies to Judy Bloomgard.
Okay. My address, if you
no,
want.
here's what I'll do. I have all your addresses on my computer now.
Oh, you have it on your.
So I will send the list of addresses to everybody
Right.
whose address I have. So everybody will have everybody's address
So
that I
you'll
have.
do that, because
I will. That will be my job.
Okay. Addresses.
Mom, I think the meeting's about to adjourn.
Danny, do you have? We talked about you already. Who haven't I not gotten? Bob, you've gotten. Steve, what? Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna thank you with what we have
This
at
is not
home.
for permanent records.
And if you need any other help,
Okay, if we have to convert
But
software
I was
if you have to
thinking we
convert
ought to
files,
have
I can try.
or load it as ASCII files.
shredded
Loading
part,
a
have it
ASCII file
permanently
should
mounted
be,
for
what are you using, Word Perfect?
Yeah, well, we have Word, but
Word is fine, it loads up. And if everybody has,
PC that operates these things?
sure, I've always had a PC that operates. Depends if I set it up and power it up or not.
Okay.
Can
Now, the
anyone
next
read
thing I
it?
wanted to talk about,
Okay.
have we gone through what everybody is going to do, or am I missing anybody?
Do we have all the tasks assigned to? I mean,
That's what I'm talking about. All the tasks everybody's going to do.
Well,
Now,
the one thing that I spoke about was
I don't know.
anybody
These
who's
are
doing
people
written.
whom I do not
yes,
know.
that was the next
This
thing.
is a
Would,
thing that I did.
would everybody be willing to, as a family of one of the original Belenky brothers, be willing to do? You've already done yours, so Katrina's out of the woods on this one.
No, but
Would
I'll-
everybody else want to do one of their particular family, just a sort of written summary of what?
A memoir?
We're talking about a maximum of 3 pages or something? Or
Yeah.
2
I've done a memoir on the time my father died, all around his funeral and putting his ashes out here. So I could pass that on.
Okay,
Let me make a
and if
copy
you
of
want
that.
to do that, then just send that to me too. If you have any extra time, you feel like doing any memoirs across the brothers, in other words, memories of either the older generation or of any of the other brothers, that would be fine too. It depends on, everybody's time is limited, I'm sure, and so it depends on how much you want to do. If it all feels good, it's like going to a meeting, one of these conventions where you're all gung-ho, when you get home, you get involved with your own life, it's hard, so we all realize that, and do the best you can. Okay, the next thing after that is, we would like to know about meeting again, if we do want to do this again on a specific basis. And another thing is, Bobby has put out, he's put out a lot of money for this tent and all this food and all. Maybe we can do something.
I think we should all somehow share that.
Well, I really do feel, I have very mixed feelings about that. On the one hand, I could, I love to have money, we'll put it in the bank and all that. But the fact is that if we're going to make this into something like an organization and have other meetings, then it'll eventually get shared because you're not always going to be meeting out here. As a matter of fact, Burton very warmly invited us to Miami. But very cleverly avoided a date. But we kept saying winter, Bert, winter. But I think he means it, and I think so it'll be spread around in that sense, which I think is just fine. So I don't even.
I'm not sure that that formal resolution of these questions may not be a little premature. I think it will require a lot of
Well, I think that we
iterative
should call each other, especially down in Washington and Baltimore, and when we get further along, in say 6 months to a year from now, we're going to meet and discuss what we've discovered now.
I don't think that answers the question of sharing the expense.
Oh, never mind.
Which is what I think was.
That's not-
Well, in a very large sense, people